Broken Empire, never heard of it. Broken Empire. Oh, yes, I have. I've read every single book. Right, you probably just saw it right there. That would make sense. Tell you what the inspiration for Arcane was. These bad boys off screen. Look at that. And that's why I'm making a video game today about magic. Anyway, welcome back. Another video, another day. Now, before we get stuck into game dev today, I want to take a little time to answer a question that I see quite a bit in the comments. And it's probably one of the most common criticisms I get in general. And it's, hey yo, Random, stop over engineering things and just put some gameplay loops in, you filthy, filthy boy. And yeah, that sounds like a great idea. What if I hip hop beats to beat Yomoti to? Playlist link down in the description, ready.gg/playlist. The only playlist you'll ever need. Gameplay loops. That sounds like a great idea, right? I tell you what I'm gonna do, all right? We'll just slap in a temporary character controller so we can move around, do all kinds of things. So we can move around in the world, and then we're gonna build systems on top of it. We're gonna build combat, very movement dependent, gathering and crafting. We still kind of need movement, you know? We need like the animations and whatnot, which is, you know, movement in and of itself. What else? Gathering, crafting, building as well. We'll all build that off of the temporary character controller. Make sure the timings are nice, do our physics predictions off of it, and just fill out all the boundary conditions. Have some gameplay loops in, right? And then out of nowhere, what's that? We need to actually not make our temporary character controller temporary anymore, put some actual effort into it, polish it up, do all these kind of stuff. Do all these kind of stuff? English? Do all these kind of things? Sure. Let me just boop, boop, boop. Oh no, where'd my entire fucking game go? For the 5th time. So that's why I'm not doing any gameplay loops yet, because I don't actually have solid foundation. Going back to my talk that I did fucking ages ago, what I'm really focusing on right now, as an individual, as a human being, as a programmer, is trying to become a good programmer first before making an entire video game, right? I'm trying to just lay out some really solid foundations, like just get like the core down pat, so that when I do go to build up a game and, you know, do put gameplay loops in and like iterate over them and fucking rework them and doing them and just make a good game, right? And just make game after game after game after game. I've got solid foundations here so that, you know, I can do that. I can fucking go build really nicely. But right now, we gotta work on the foundations. Foundations, baby. The wider they go, the higher the game goes. Simple as that. I am very much keen to do actual gameplay work though. It's been so goddamn long. Believe it or not, I actually enjoy design more than engine work. I know it doesn't look like it. I care far more about understanding all the layers and having good solid foundation, because I know for a fact it'll be 10 times better for me in the long run. Even though right now, it doesn't look like I'm making a bunch of visible progress. There are other people like Danny, you know, in fucking Unity and whatnot, just cranking out game after game after game, just making absolute boppers, like crab game. I'm keen to do that one day. I've used Unreal Engine before. I've used game engines like that before. It works, it gets the job done, but I don't know. I like knowing what's under my feet. I'm a very stubborn man. I like understanding things. And it's also the fact that I'm not actually making a game engine, right? I am using Telescope, Ryan's engine. I'm not actually reinventing the wheel. I know that sounds a bit iffy since, you know, I'm not in any of the big engines, but, you know, I'm still using Telescope, right? It's a good middle ground between knowing absolutely nothing up here and knowing enough to be able to, you know, go in, do actual engine work really nicely, really solidly. Exhibit A up here, our boy Ron. I'm not reinventing the wheel entirely. I'm reinventing what I kind of feel I need to learn about and do to become a better programmer. Anyway, coffee is done. That was a very big, long-winded explanation of why I'm doing what I'm doing. But you know, there's a small portion of you who are actually like, what's this fucking idiot doing, you know? It's hard to ignore those kind of comments and just kind of be like, fuck off, just let me do my thing. But from this point forward, fuck off and just let me do my thing. I'm gonna link people back to this video so that they know what's going on. Anyway, if you're new around here, what's up? My name's Randy. Just gave you my entire fucking life story. That was a bit of a tangent, but a nice one. But we can't just sit here and look up at the sky and be like, wow, I can't wait for this to happen. Wouldn't this all be so cool? Sometimes you gotta look down at what's directly in front of you and actually get some fucking work done. So, boys and girls, welcome back to another session. Another day of chipping away at a game and getting some things done. So, I've been thinking, what I think our first task to do in order to create a bus and character controller, which is the goal for November, right? First, we kind of have to create a good sandbox map environment. So a good little gray box area for us to run around in, test out all kinds of movement, put up some walls and whatnot, so maybe we can like implement some kind of like climbing, just things like that, right? Because right now, we don't really have a sandbox. This is kind of the sandbox, but this is actually just straight up the the fucking game world. So we need to differentiate between the actual game world, which we're going to be designing and creating out with our, you know, entire map editor and whatnot. It's just going to be one big world. And we need to create an actual map that's just going to be a nice sandbox area for artists to test out, you know, quick and dirty things. Iterate. Iterate fast. Speed. Agility. Power. That's what we're going to be attempting to facilitate today. So let's get crack-a-lacking. Also, I do apologize, but I'm gonna have to turn the aircon on because it's getting hot. Wow, what a nice, lovely, quiet sound. I think I only have the concept of creating a world, which is an instance of a map abstracted away, but I also need to get the map itself abstracted away so I can choose what world to construct the map off of. Load map data. So that's this right here. Load map data, and what that'll do is it'll take in the initial map, which is, you know, the initial map folder. So initial map, this right here. This shouldn't have any chunks because we don't have a chunk system anymore. So we've got two things, entity data and terrain data. What we could do is further kind of abstract this in and be like, you know, game world, you know, and then this be the actual game world. Then we just have like a bunch of different maps in here. So we could call this input sandbox, and we could just develop like an, you know, just a really nice sandbox environment for us to test out the character controller and all that kind of stuff. You know, say we need something a bit more specific in the future, like combat sandbox, you know, just a bunch of these different things. Like we could have it all in the one sandbox, but why put that limitation on ourselves? Just do chihi. What was that? You guys saw that, right? What did I just do? All right, load map data. So then we're going to pass in from map. And then, of course, that's going to scream at me because different declarations in the create world. Now we just have to update all the create worlds. And all right, so if it's in a developer environment, I'm just going to hard code in basically our world that we want to call, which is something like bus and controller, because that's really our goal with this entire map is to create a bus and controller. But that's not really our only goal, because we might need to use something else. So we'll call it controller sandbox. I like that. Control sandbox, because, you know, we can do a bunch of AI stuff in here as well in the future, because it's going to be just a nice platform. All right, so now if it is in the actual game, I think we're just going to go straight into the game world, which we can call something like, just leave it a game world, honestly. Simple. Dude, it feels good doing actual programming for once, instead of kind of just sitting here trying to think why my fucking inverse kinematics is not working. All right, yes, so just copy in map name, and then all the initial map stuff. So it's being updated to /plugin map name, right, and then it copies it to the root. All right, so now we've got the saved map data, and I'm basically just gonna pass in the exact same thing. So get client data, default map. Yeah, so this is when I'm actually saving, or, you know, you do like Control S of that, and we'll just write it to the default map, so whatever's open. All right. Everything's updated. I've added in the new multiple default map distinction thing on top of that. So we're gonna go into, I don't have Remedy BG. That's a lie, I do, because it's such a goddamn simple application that it just runs directly from a .exe file. I won't have my old layout though. I'm trying to think, where does it save its layout data then? Maybe in app data or something? Probably. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, you're splitting your program up into all different areas of the OS. So for something like this, right, saving like a layout, I would dock this over here. Let's say I save this, right? But if I close out of that and open it back up, that'll remember itself. But where is that data stored? I have a feeling it's in here. It is. Ah, it's I'm GUI. Lovely. So that's where the I'm GUI data gets stored, right? But why can't that just be here? Like, am I missing something? Am I crazy for that? So that way it's central in the one spot. Like, you know, yes, we've kind of set this precedent of just chucking everything in app data and roaming. Maybe the applications just have permission to put it in here and it's kind of like boxed off and centralized, so you can't really do anything else without administrative things. I don't know. Is that a constraint of Windows that you have to put your app data in app data? That would kind of make sense if that's the case. We're getting off topic here, all right? We're getting off topic here. All my app data for my entire Remedy setup was in app data. I didn't copy over my app data when I reset my PC. That is now being nuked to shit. And now I've got to reset up my environment. And I can't really remember how to set this up and load it properly. All right, let's just figure out if I can debug this without Remedy real quick. Alright, well that works. Alright, good enough. That's all we need apparently. Map doesn't exist, and the map name is controller sandbox, and that doesn't exist apparently because the file path is not actually being loaded. I wonder why this isn't a valid file path. Controller sandbox maps, and then C, and then it doesn't. Why would that work, bro? Come on. Throw me a bone, man. Load map data. Map name. We have to swap these around because I'm a dum-dum. Yeah, so what's trying to happen now is it's trying to open our entity data in our new map, which should have the correct file path now. Yep, so we're going into maps, control sandbox, entity data.arc. But the thing is, if we actually go to control sandbox, there's nothing here. There's no entity data.arc because why would there be? So I just need to make a condition that searches for it. If it doesn't find it because it's a new map that we're trying to create. Actually, I tell you what, beforehand, I wonder if we can just do this. Save map data. Sure, we can do that, and then that'll just work. And it does. Ladies and gents, we now have a brand spanking new sandbox environment. Controller sandbox for the builder. We're gonna build this bad boy out, clean it up a little bit, make it easy to use because that is the most scuffed workaround that I just did. And then of course, to prove that we do now have multiple worlds, we'll just get rid of that define and we're gonna get some build errors. I'm just gonna ignore that. And then of course, we can go back into the actual game world and construct our entire world based off of that map. But for now, we're not going to be seeing that for a while because we want to build out the control sandbox and make an actual environment that's going to be easy to kind of do all of our physics calculations and whatnot off of our physics fine-tuning and movement and velocity and acceleration and all that kind of good stuff. So that's what we're going to be doing in the next session. I'm going to call it there for today. I can program for longer than just one session every day because, you know, my brain isn't getting entirely burnt out. Like, I can keep going, but the videos will just be really long. And who wants long videos? I'm sure you do want long videos, but we'll just make more short videos. Big brain. Bye.